Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the call. Y'all tell me where you're coming in from. Hey, Trinae. Hey, Emil. My first class. I'm excited. Welcome. We're excited to have you. Hey, Annette. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, this is going to be my time actually explaining myself. So my team said, okay, Teri, so when you going to be the person getting interviewed? And I said, oh, y'all want to interview me? So today we have Valerie's coming on, and I see that she's on here, but Val, we don't see your video or audio. So she's going to be interviewing me today, and y'all will hear a little bit about my story. Oh, nice. I see where you guys are coming in from. I see Georgia, Texas, Seattle. Hey, Arlington, down the street. You know what's crazy? So I think there's quarantine rules in Dallas County that are not in the suburbs. So my friend was like, if you want to go outside, just go to Tarrant County. So that's like literally in the suburb. She's like, you can go run outside over there. Just go down there and run outside. Milwaukee, hey, good morning. Hello. Hey, Val, welcome. So we can't hear your audio. And then if you do have an Ethernet, you're a little blurry. So we might need an Ethernet cord for you if you have one.
Okay, is this better?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Hello.
Hey. And cool. And it's still a little blurry.
Okay.
But this, so I know you guys have noticed, and thank y'all for being so patient with us. The technology we use is called Webinar Jam, but because we've been having so many people on the call, it takes really high bandwidth. So that's why sometimes you might see like one of the people being blurry. It's because like you have to hook up into the Ethernet cable to go. But yes, it's getting. Oh, it was clearer right there.
Maybe I need to lean in.
There we go. That might work.
Okay.
And then I see, oh, thank you, Leslie. She says, Teri, your streaming connection is great. Really good quality. Yeah. Yeah, no, I paid for that. Huh?
I need to get your internet hookup.
Man, they had to come twice. I said, people now, look, I'm on calls, on webinars with 200 students at a time or more. And I needed to work because, you know, we have Monday group calls and we have like 1,000 students now. So at times we're like, I'm teaching like 200 to 300 people at a time. So I went to the internet place and said, I need y'all to make this work. And so they hooked it up. So appreciate you, Spectrum. Shout out.
I have Spectrum too. I'm going to need your Spectrum Connect.
Okay. We're going to send them to Cali. All right. Well, I'm in the hot seat. Do you want to do the intro? You want me to still do the intro?
Listen. I want you to do the intro, and then I want you to turn it over to me so people can get all the information about you and get all the questions answered that they want to know about you. So, but would love for you to go ahead and intro, and then I'll take it from there.
Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. Hey, y'all, Val didn't send me no kind of questions or prep. She was just like, look, I'm asking you all the questions.
Nope.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So welcome, everybody. Thank y'all so much for joining us. I hope that you can hear me clearly. Is my audio okay, Val? Can y'all hear me okay?
Your audio's great.
Perfect. So the reason why we started this is because I am the founder. My name is Teri Ijeoma, and I'm the founder of Invest with Teri. And in Invest with Teri, we teach students. We have a class called Trade and Travel, and we teach students how to make $1,000 a day in the stock market. And the way that I teach is active trading. So you're using that money for income. That means you can spend it on paying down your debt, on traveling like I did, on paying for daycare for the kids, whatever you need the money for, that's what you can use it for. But that's what I teach. And I became a millionaire by trading in the stock market and then teaching others how to trade. And we have this because we're doing 1,000 people making $1,000 a day. That's actually $1 million in a day. So we have this goal to make $1 million a day. And that's where this idea came from. All right. if we're making $1 million a day, we got to show people that it's possible. We got to show them some millionaires and see the impact that they've been having. So, all right, guys, that's the intro. That's what we doing. And it's so exciting. Like, we have some really cool people coming up for April. Like, so many friends. We got Earn Your Leisure coming on. King Ashley Ann is coming. Zim, who created Travel Noir, is coming on. Like, people are like, this is cool, Teri. Let's do it. So I'm so excited. And yeah, and then let me introduce Val real quick. So this is Valerie Williams. She's our director of partnerships and just a blessing to my team. I've been knowing her since high school, so I'm really nervous about all these questions she's about to ask me. But all right, Val, let me turn it over to you.
Absolutely. And I'm just so excited for the opportunity to interview you on this series. We've been running this series for a couple months now, as Teri mentioned. And we just had some phenomenal guests. And I can't tell you the number of gems that I've just like have taken away from these conversations. So I'd love to just first like get your overall sort of like, how are you feeling about the series? I know you're like excited about it, but like, has anything surprised you about what has happened since you created this from I remember the conversation we had when this came to be. We were like, talk about like the power of like 1 million, like, and I remember we were there. So I'm just curious about, are you surprised by anything now that we're a couple months in, preparing for next month? Are you surprised? What are your general kind of sentiments?
I'm surprised that I feel like I've been getting coached too. So not only am I like interviewing them, but I feel like I'm picking up gems for my own business. Mm-hmm. So like, I loved hearing about how focused everybody is. Like there was several people that seemed like this consistency of you got to focus in, be really good at 1 to 2 things. And then I even loved Erica's take on it, where she does like the hyper focus for 90 days. And I had never heard that before. I thought, well, if I'm going to do something, I got to do it forever. But no, you can really focus for a short amount of time, get a skill, and then move on to the next. I'm still impressed by Abu when he said that like you have to hire for solutions. I've always done that wrong. Like on every team where I've been a boss or a manager, I've hired for a problem. Like, I don't know how to do this, so somebody needs to come do this. Mm-hmm. But he said, no, like you need to create the solution up front. And then when you hire them to do the solution you created already. And I was like, wow, that's so strong. So I loved that. I love the mindset things that like both Danielle's threw out there. Like Danielle, Leslie talked about how she had to commit to her own word. Like she had to make sure whatever she said she did. I love that because sometimes I don't do that. Like I'll say I'm gonna do. I'm still trying to work out. I've been saying I'm gonna work out for about 15 years. So. So like that committing to yourself and like committing to your own word. And then Danielle Pierce said something similar. She was like, look, I knew when I needed help. And so I had to go out and get coaches to help me. And like, I love that too. Like everybody's been having therapists. I don't have a therapist yet. I'm like, maybe that's what I need to do. I need to get some help. So I'm feeling really good. I really have loved the nuggets that everybody has dropped.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you about your favorite gems, and you hit on some of my favorites as well. So that's awesome. And, we really wanted to keep the conversation going, particularly because everyone's at home now with the virus, and, we're looking for ways to be connected and continue to stay connected and continue to stay inspired. And I know recently you have been out in media outlets talking about sort of like investing and trading in this moment when we're at home, and like, how can we think about it? How do we approach it? How do we even just sort of crisis proof ourselves? So we'll love your thoughts on like in this time right now of, what are you saying? How are you coaching people? How are you adjusting to this coronavirus season?
So I think that there's like several different groups of people that are dealing with Corona right now. So you have one group of people who they're working from home, but their job is secure. Mm-hmm. So they've had some money sitting on the side. Right now, their job may have told them, well, you can't work in the office, so you got to go home. So they're sitting at home kind of bored. They, they might do a little bit of work, but they not working all day. And they're probably getting a little stir crazy. Like I talked to one friend, he's a doctor, and he's like, I decided I'm not working during Corona, so I'm just sitting at the house. And he's like, I thought I'd be good chilling for the 2 months, but after a week I got stir crazy. So there's that group of people. For that group of people, people, I'm saying this is the time to learn. Like the stock market has come down. You're getting some really great opportunities. Like this is the time to learn. Like I am thoroughly convinced that, so we have over 1,000 students in our school now. I am thoroughly convinced that at the end of this coronavirus, when the market comes back up, at least 500 of them will be able to hit the $1,000 in a day mark, because learned while the market was low, while they're at home, they've learned how to master my strategy. And then when the market starts coming back up, they're going to be able to get in at some low prices and meet the $1,000 a day. And then I think the question is, well, if why you say 500 and not everybody? Because there's that other group of people that's going to have every excuse in the world. They're going to tell me, Teri, I didn't have enough time. Boo, you were at home. What you talking about? You ain't have enough time. Then they're going to say, well, you know what? I was scared and I didn't do it, or I did it in my sim and I didn't do it in my real, which is fine. But there's just that difference between the doers and then the ones that make excuses. And so I know that it's only going to be probably 50%, but a big group of people are going to be able to hit the $1,000 a day after this. So there's that group of people with Corona. Then there's the group of people who, like, I understand, like all the kids are home. You got to feed all the kids. So money is tight. Maybe you lost your job. But then I can't even say, like, for them that they shouldn't take the class, because like I have like Chad, one of my students, Chad, he got laid off, but he said that was one of the happiest days of his life because he knew how to trade. He already had this skill set he had learned. So he's already still generating income while he's been laid off. So I don't know, like during this time, I really am saying this is the best time to learn. I don't necessarily want you throwing money in the market just yet, because I do think it can come down a little lower. But I think this is the best time to learn, because this is a wonderful opportunity.
Yes. I love that. I love that nugget. There's the doers and the people with excuses. So how about y'all type in the chat box? Who's in the building? Who are doers? Who's ready to learn in this season?
Yes.
I love it. I see you in the box. Yes. Deborah, I see you. Yes. Much clearer. Awesome. I totally agree with you, Teri. And I feel like for me, there's days, I think we should be patient with ourselves during this time of like, it is a season of kind of slowing down, reassessing, and sort of being more thoughtful about how we spend our time. And so I do support people that are sort of being more kind of mindful and thoughtful, but it is a great time to learn. Things will pick back up very soon. So I think that's a great nugget. Yes, doers. I see you, Cassandra. I see you. Yes, I love it.
Yes.
Awesome.
Nice. Annette says trading will pay my mortgage when tenants cannot. True. That's a big deal right now too. Like when real estate, I used to be an Airbnb host, and right now nobody's traveling. So you got to have some other ways to take care of your expenses. So it's just nice to diversify. It's really, it's important.
Yeah. So how do you talked a little bit about mindset, and I know that's what we talk a lot about with our other guests. And so as you're thinking about sort of the doers versus sort of the excusers, what has kept you in that doer mindset?
Okay, Val, I see you with the questions.
I'm trying.
What has kept me in the mindset of a doer? Honestly, okay, so I have to tell people in my background, before I was trading full time, while I was still in education, I also have been in ministry for a long time. So I went to theology school, like I quit my first job at Teach for America. I was in their administrative team, and then I left that to go to get my master's, but it was in theology because I really wanted to learn the books of the Bible. So I then went and worked for a ministry. So it's very much part of me to just like, there's a couple scriptures that really keep me grounded. One of them says, do your best. I think this is Colossians 3:23, if anybody wanted to look it up, but it says, do your best in all things as if working for God and not for man. And so that's one that keeps me like, if I was just doing this for my boss or doing this for man, I would have quit a long time ago. Even if I was doing it for myself, I would have quit a long time ago. But when I'm doing things as if doing it to God, then I'm coming with a whole nother level of excellence that what does he deserve?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
so that keeps me grounded. And then I also saw one recently. I was studying Second Peter, and Second Peter, he was talking about, so Peter was, he knew that he was about to pass away soon. So he was talking to people who had been called, and he was telling them, like, I want you to remember these qualities. And he goes from like, you know, I want you to remember to have knowledge, self-control. And he just kind of keeps listing these qualities. And he says, because if you don't have these qualities, you're going to prove to be ineffective and ineffective and unfruitful. And I just started bawling, because that would be the worst thing for me. If I were to get to heaven and then God tell me, Teri, you were ineffective and unfruitful in this life. And I was like, no, I can't. I just can't. So that's what keeps me going. Like, I want to get to heaven, and I want him to be like, Teri, you did that thing. You were fruitful and you were effective. Even, you know, with that knowledge that I've given you, with the skills I gave you, with the word of God even that I gave you, you were effective and you multiplied. You didn't just keep it in your household. And I think that's one other thing that's been getting me lately. In the book of Haggai, there was a section that talks about how God had basically what it kind of some of the stuff you're doing now. He had made a drought in the land. Like they couldn't, like every penny that they spent was falling out. Like they just felt like they were losing money all the time. And when God finally spoke to them, he said, the reason why is because you all are building your own households while my house is sitting in ruins.
Wow.
Yes. And so that too has been getting me. Like, I don't want to build up my own household. Oh, Teri got a new car, or Teri got a new this, or I got a TV. Everything in my house is looking great, but I ain't helped nothing for the kingdom of God. I've helped nobody else. Like, that's not me. And I do believe that God will come after us when we have that mentality. So we've got to help other people. So those are the things that have kept me.
Ooh, I saw some amens in here. I bet y'all didn't think we were about to go to church, but can I see amens? Man, that is such a word, Teri. It's such a word. The moment we move from sort of ego-driven decision making into spirit-driven decision making is the moment that everything changes. And it's been such a blessing and an honor to work with you and our team, and for us to be just so mission driven in this way, to where it's like we're really trying to teach people how to be financially independent and to like have these tools for life. And it's not about, like, you could stop all of this and just go trade and we could never hear from you again. And that could be cool. You could go travel the rest of your life, but instead you're here and you're like in your ministry, and it's just so dope to be a part of it. So I see some amens coming in.
Thank you, Val.
Yes, such an honor. I'm curious too. I think you talked a little bit about this on one of the previous conversations, but this for people in the call that are thinking about sort of their anointing or their ministry and their purpose and kind of how it all fits together. You talked about sort of your skill set is being a teacher. That's like that's what you're offering, but this is clearly your ministry. So maybe talk a little bit about how your sort of like your purpose and your anointing is aligned to sort of your skill set and what you're offering to the world.
Yeah. Oh man, you're coming with these good questions. Okay, hold on.
Well, this is really your journey, how you got to there, So I think they're developing skills. We're working jobs, or we're getting skills, but then how do we connect that to a real purpose?
You know what? So one of the things I was thinking about before the call was how I actually failed a lot. And for a little while, it was a really big struggle for me to even think I was worthy to do something great. And the reason why, like, I don't talk about this often, but in every single job that I had in the corporate world, I ended up getting an improvement plan at some point. And a lot of times it was an improvement plan that, like, of course, I didn't think it was warranted, but like it just would hurt my confidence. So like I had one improvement plan where all of a sudden, well, actually several of them, all of a sudden, like I would be doing great. My boss would love me. And then all of a sudden it seemed like I couldn't do anything right. And I got to this point where it was just like, I started feeling like I can't do anything right. It must be me. I'm the common denominator. I keep getting these improvement plans, so something's got to be wrong with me. And I started feeling like I clearly I'm not good at anything. And so now to see where I am now and feel like, wait, that was wrong. I am good at something. I just didn't find the right seat on the bus. Like I was doing some things that weren't really in my skill set, or maybe I was growing through those seasons and it brought me to where I am now. But I think like part of my journey has definitely been seeing people tell me that I'm not good enough, and then finally finding that, wait, there's some places where I am really good. And those places where I did shine was I started my own real estate company, and I was helping like 100 teachers to relocate every summer. That was bringing in like 5 figures in 6 weeks every summer. I was good at that. And I was building it all on my own. So while all these bosses were telling me that I wasn't good at attention to detail, and I wasn't good at this or that, I was really good at helping other people to relocate. And my thing even in that was I was investing in them because they like moving is one of the most stressful times of your life. So I love the fact that I was making that season easier for them.
Yes.
Then I was in ministry, and I seemed to be like, every time I gave a sermon, I would get a note like, Teri, that was really good. Like, you really broke that down. You really, like, that's just what I needed to hear today. So that's a place where, okay, I'm good at this. I'm getting positive feedback. People are telling me that I'm breaking things down in a good way. Okay, that's something else that I'm good at. And then trading. Like, it took me a while to get good. I didn't know what I was doing for a long time. But now I'm at a point where, no, boo, I'm good at this. Like, I know how to make money. I know when to get in and out of a trade. Like, I could teach this, and people are actually seeing results. Like, they're making $1,000 a day. What? People over here making like $14,000 in a day, and they're my students. So I'm good at that. So what I've had to learn is how to focus on the things that I actually am good at, and then blow those up. And try not like there's another scripture that says, think on those things that are good and those things that are true. And there's so many times where I would be in my head, even now, I have to kind of push out the thoughts that you're not good enough. You can't do this. They don't want to hear from you. Whatever you put out is not going to be good enough. Nope. Like, those are some things that other people said that are not true in my life. What's true in my life, and when I look at it, is what's true is people are growing, people are learning. People are blowing up and being successful. They're helping their family. That's what I'm going to focus on. That's what I'm good at.
Yes. I bet a lot of you didn't know that about Teri. And I appreciate you sharing that, because people, now you're publicly sharing how much you make in a day and stuff. And people probably see you as super successful, but they don't know the journey of what it takes to get here. And I remember just being so inspired by that. And, people are out there going through it. People are like, yes, me too. Mercedes said, oh my God, I'm in a performance plan in my current job. Shantavia is like, I've been there, Teri, I've been there. And, and I think particularly for Black women, I've been seeing it a lot in my friend group of people. There's an article out there for people that's interested. It's something about becoming, you moving from being sort of like the office pet, where they love Black women within the office, but then at some point you become a threat. And I think it's the moment when we start sort of like asserting ourselves and being confident in knowing our worth. At that moment, you become a threat. And that's when the performance plans come, and that's when the conversations come. And so, for everyone on the call, like, really think about that moment and don't let that, hit your confidence. Be strong, as Teri said, and know what you're good at and focus on that. I love that, Teri. I love that.
I had a boss tell me once, and I literally had been on the job for like a week. You know what? We don't think you're as good as you think you are. Oh. Yes. And this is supposed to be my boss. Wow. Mind you, if you're my boss, your goal is to train me to be good. But clearly you didn't want to train me at all. You just wanted me to feel less than so that you could feel bigger. And that's not okay.
Not
That's
okay.
just not okay. But
Not
I do agree with you. I feel like sometimes people just they want to put you in your place when they see that there's some kind of light. Wait, she's shining. Oh
yeah.
man, like she got something. She's got a gift. Then they
Yeah.
want to try to snuff it out. And when we're in that position, what I have learned now is, boo. Clearly, they see something in you that is what somebody told me. They said when you're shining, it exposes where they're dark. Like it exposes their
Ooh,
spots. And so
yeah.
that's when they start feeling some kind of way and they try to make you dimmer. But
Yeah.
we can't let that happen. When you feel like you're in that kind of situation, just recognize, hey, I'm shining. I'm shining. The reason why she said that is because I'm shining.
I'm shining. I love it. Yes. Everybody says, shine, Teri, shine, girl. Keep shining your light on the world, like Umi says.
Yes.
I love it. Awesome. Well, I know a lot of what's going on in Invest with Teri land, but I think it would be helpful for people to maybe hear a little bit about behind the scenes of what's happening. Maybe talk about, like you said, you hired a team for the first time this year. You have some campaigns going on. We have a lot going on. So I'm sure people will be curious to hear about what you have going on in 2020 and how are you making adjustments in this time?
Yeah, so super excited. We just launched Trade and Travel 2.0. So I redid. So in Trade and Travel, the VIP program, there's 7 classes. So while I was in South Africa, I redid all of our options curriculum. And then I've redone all of our technical analysis curriculum, all of our putting it all together curriculum. And like, I love my friends. So I love, like, when I told my videographer friends, like, hey, I'm redoing my course, I'm thinking it's going to be like, point and shoot, take the picture, go. They done made it production. Like, it looked like a movie screen in my course. Like, I'm seeing all the edits and cuts and different angles. I'm like, boo, the video was 3 minutes and it's like a movie trailer. But so I'm super excited about just, I think that it's going to help people learn in such an easier way. Like, now they're going to really be able to get through the course. Before, I think all of my content before was good, but now because I've been teaching it for so long, like, I know how people learn. So I've been able to go in and make it like easier for them to understand and catch this part and catch, so I'm super excited. I'm really excited about just the course and everybody learning. And then we have this $1 million a day campaign. We are over 1,000 students now. So that's part of the goal. We wanted to help 1,000 people make $1,000 in a day. And now we're starting to see people turn in their results. So like, we literally, I think we're maybe like 2 people away from the first 100 people that have reached $1,000 in a day. And the other people, it's not that they aren't making money. Like, they've reached it, but maybe they're in the $100 a day club or the $200 a day club. So I'm really excited about just seeing. And yeah, I'm from Texas, so that's, sorry for my accent. I realize I'm not being correct. Like, about. I am excited about. No, but yeah, like, yesterday I uploaded the Trade and Travel 2.0, and I just started thanking God. Like, I'm so excited to see how it changes people's lives. And so super excited about that. We did a live like conference with my students earlier this year in January. And like, it was just amazing to see them. They are like, it's so cool to see people in person. Like, this is a real school and these are real people with real families and lives. And this is like really helping them. So like one couple, they couldn't even be work in the same city because they always had jobs in different places. But now, because one of the wife, Selenia, she's gotten really good at trading. Now she could go and work in the same or live in the same place as her husband. Like, I didn't, like, you couldn't think of that when you're creating a course. Like, I'm going to allow a couple to have quality time together and live in the same city by teaching them this skill set. Like, wow, that's really cool. So, So yeah, that's stuff I'm excited about. I might have missed something. Anything else that you excited about?
Listen, I don't know if you were talking so fast. I don't know if people heard you say we are approaching 100 of her students making at least that have made $1,000 in a day. So I just I'm gonna just raise the roof on that one. I'm gonna take it back to the, the 2000s and raise the roof on that one. So
Yes, yes.
awesome. That is awesome. And I know the team is working on that milestone hard. Yeah. Do you want to talk about the team and like a little bit about who we have behind the scenes working with you?
Sure. So I finally hired a team. My first whole year and a half of doing the course, it was just me. And which was pretty phenomenal. We hit some pretty big milestones, like the award for not best course in Teachable, but it was the Teachable's creator challenge. Like I won that, and that was just me. I was just working as myself. I had hired my cousin Tiandra, so she was helping me, and she was doing all the emails, and I was going. So it was crazy, but we reached some really big milestones. But now, like, our goals are to be like managing. It's going to end up being probably thousands of students. Managing thousands of students takes a team. So now we have a director of partnerships, so Val here. We have director of funnel optimization, so all the websites and things that y'all see, or Instagram stuff that y'all see. His name is Eric Patrick. We have a director of students, so that's Nina Ume, and like now we have a whole instructional team. So Nina, Annette, and LaQuery and Annette have been my students since the first cohort that I did in October of 2018. Yep. And so they've been with me for about a year and a half, and both of them are killing it. So like Annette now, and if y'all want to see videos of them or who they are, and Annette's on the call here, but we put their videos on Instagram. So at I'm an Investor, that's my Instagram page. So Annette has now made over $20,000 in a day, just killing it. Like one of her emails to me was like, Teri, I was an RN. She was able to quit her job and start trading full time. She's like, I literally made my whole salary as an RN in one day. So like that's cool. And then we got LaQuery. She works for a college. She's actually a doctor, like a PhD doctor. And she's taking my class. She started also with me in October. She's made over $14,000 in a day. Yeah, did I say I'm right? Annette was 20,000. LaQuery is 14,000 in a day. And so she's like, Teri, they don't know. I'm gonna throw my deuces if they say something wrong to me. I'm like, girl, yes, but now they've grown up so much in the course that now they can be teachers. So they help me manage some of our calls with other students. So that's really cool. And then we have Tiandra, my cousin. She helps me with student success. And then we also have, I just hired on my another cousin, Chad. And he's going to help me with student success too, or not student success, but new students, because we're getting like so many questions. And so that's, to tell you the truth, like that's one of the coolest things that I can say about this whole journey, like being able to provide jobs for my friends and family. So like, that's been really, really cool. And yeah, like my cousin Tiandra, our grandmother passed away like a couple of years ago. And we just think, we're like, man, Granny would have been so proud of us. She just would have been so proud, just to even see us working together. And like, yeah, like it's really cool.
I was going to go there too, Teri. It was just like such a blessing. Not only are you teaching people how to fish, you're also employing people, and you have a larger extended team of people, like you said, production team, and
true. There's so many more. Yeah.
There's so many more people that you've been able to bless through being able to like help in your ministry. So I think that's just so cool too. That's awesome. Yes, people are saying that's awesome. Okay, I have a few more questions, but if people start having questions, let me know. I see I have some questions in here, but start dropping in your questions for Teri, and we'll see. Actually, I like this. I like Teri's question. Let's see. How did you transform your mindset to monetize your ministry gifts in travel and trade without apprehension or guilt?
Ooh. Okay, now.
That one now.
Okay, so how did I transform my mindset to monetize my gift? To tell you the truth, I take these big leaps of faith. In my life, I've had several big leaps of faith. One of them was I had my real estate company was going really well. I was in grad school, and all of a sudden this job came in Chicago that was like, hey, we want you to come work for us. And I was like, I can't. I'm doing other things. I'm settled here. I'm content here. And the ministry was like, no, we really want you to come work for us. So I said no to them 3 times, actually. And then on the last one, I said, okay, Lord, if it's you, then I want you to let me come work. So the job is in Chicago. So I said, Lord, if it's you, I want them to give me 3 months off every summer to come back to Dallas to do my own job, to run my own company, and to go to school if it's you. Then I said, if it's you, I want them to pay me at least this. If it's you, I had like this whole list. Girl, do you know the lady came to Dallas and she was doing like a workshop, like an exhibit, and I helped her with the exhibit. And I guess she liked how much I helped her with the exhibit. She said, Teri, what was it again that would make you want to come and work for me? I gave her my list from God. Do you know, in that very moment, she said, okay, we could do that.
What?
Yes. Wow. So I was getting paid this like big salary. For me, it was big at the time. I had never got paid that much. Yes. So I was getting paid this big salary. Yes. I got to come home every summer to do my own business and to finish school. Oh, and they paid for school. That was on my list too. They had to pay for school. Yes. Wow. So after, when she said yes, it was like, okay, Lord, fine. Let me go. Right. Clearly, this is you. And so that was one big faith thing. And then when I needed to quit my job and started traveling full time, like I was assistant principal of elementary school. And like, this was another leap of faith to just quit your job and start trading full time and traveling. I knew that is what I wanted to do. Like, when my friend had passed and I had some time to pray, and I remember journaling, like, Lord, if I could do anything in the world, because I love trading, like, it's fun to me. So to me, it's like a hobby. So if I could do anything in the world, I would trade and I would travel around the world. And I wrote that in my journal. And again, that was just like a prayer to God. Like, and to me, it was this far out thing that couldn't happen. So, then some things started moving in my life, and it was, and I remember feeling like, okay, the Lord was like, okay, do it. You can quit today. Quit, go travel around the world. Yes, but I was like, no, I have a job. I'm secure right now. And then I got into that excuses. Remember the doers versus excuses? Yeah. I got into the excuses of, well, I got a lease. I can't get out because I got a lease. Then it was the excuse of, well, I don't have the money, so I can't do it. And I'm like, literally, can you believe I'm telling God who has all the resources on all the hills, God, I can't do this. Nope, because I don't have this and I don't have this. First of all, let's just pause right there. Guys, if you ever find yourself telling God what you can't do because of what you personally have, please shift your focus. Because God can do all those things. And if your excuses have to do with yourself, then you're not thinking about how good God is. Switch it. Tell him, I see if this even makes sense. Lord, I can't do this because you don't have the money. Lord, I can't do this because you don't have time for me. Those sentences don't even make sense. You can't tell God you don't have the resources and you don't. God will show you some things. So I came to him with all these excuses. And do you know that I lived on the 25th floor in a high rise. My whole apartment flooded. You're not supposed to flood on the 25th floor.
25th floor.
25th floor. No, it flooded. The 27th floor, a pipe busted and flooded my apartment. So now all of a sudden, can't use that excuse if I have a lease because they let me out the lease. Then all of the furniture was destroyed. And it wasn't actually like the floor was wet, but some things I could still salvage, but still insurance came and paid me for everything in my apartment. So can't say now that I don't have the money. You have the money. Like, to me, it's like, look at how God works. Like, God is a big God. Yeah. I was like, okay, well, Lord, I don't have nobody to go with. So again, everything is about me and my fear, right? God's already told me that he'll provide. He's told me that he can do this, but I'm still stuck because I'm afraid. And so I'm telling him, I don't have nobody to go with. did a phone call, and they were like, Teri, we got one more seat. We're going to South Korea. And I'm like, I don't even know where South Korea is. To tell you the truth, I didn't even research South Korea until I got on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but at this point, it's one of those big faith things. Like, okay, God, every excuse that I've given, you have taken away. So clearly this is you. Let me just go. And God, so that to tell you the truth, the mindset shift for me was trusting God and not relying on my fear. Trusting God and just jumping. That's the mindset shift that I often have to make. How do you just jump instead of being too afraid or giving excuses to do what God's called you to do?
Yes.
And then go ahead.
No, and I was just gonna say, and you know, for people that may not be Christian on the call, you can still step out on faith. I mean, a lot of this is about having fear and moving anyway, you know.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Like, and to tell you the truth, I think that for a lot of the stories in the Bible, I think they're good stories for anybody. Even if you're not a believer, and I'll say not a believer yet, or not a believer in general, like some of the things are just good principles. And like being able to like step out on faith instead of being in fear, like that's huge no matter what, because a lot of us get stuck because we're stuck in our fear. And you ain't gonna get nowhere listening to fear.
No,
that's not gonna get you anywhere.
Or waiting on fear to go away. Like, you have to learn how to be productive and move anyway, in spite of the fear. Like, and I think that's the hardest thing to kind of deal to really think about. So
yeah.
You
know what's crazy, Val? I actually I like long flights to other countries, but for most times I'm actually extremely afraid when I fly to other countries. And I usually think that I am going to like, this is the most weird fear, but I'm usually thinking like this is going to be my last flight. I'm going to die on this plane. But I do it anyway.
Wow. Wait. This is Miss Trade and Travel saying that you're flying on planes every trip. You have that thought.
Every trip. And well, usually, especially it's the long ones. So like recently when I was going to South Africa, I was traveling by myself, and I was like, Lord, if this is going to be the last time that people see me, just, I prayed it, you'll take me to heaven on this flight. And so even with South Korea, like when I decided to first quit and then started traveling all over the world, like I was literally like all I had left, because I had to sell all my stuff, all I had left was 2 bags to my name. And so like to me too, that's just a testimony. I went from in 2017 is when I quit. I went from in 2017 having only 2 bags of clothes to my name to now having over $2 million and whatever else. Like, that's a testimony in itself. Like, when you step out in faith, when you step out into what God calls you to do, like, look at what he can do. Like, it's not even about you. But I literally thought, like, on that first plane, I was like, you know what? God, told me come out here and trade and travel, and I'm about to die on this plane. Like, literally, this is going to be my last day on earth. But I do it anyway. Like, you just got to do it anyway.
Wow. I love that. I did not know that about you, Teri. Wow. I see a couple specific questions about the course, and we can answer those separately offline. But I did ask Teri, how did you market your course to where you are today? We mentioned we're at 1,000 students, and we're growing rapidly. Maybe talk a little bit about how you get the word out about your course and how you market it.
Sure. So, okay, let me phrase it like this. If you are a business owner and you're trying to grow your company, what are some things that you have to do? And maybe we can all talk about courses specifically, because some people might be on here with courses. Like, honestly, there's a couple things that I do. One, I a lot of times I don't, especially in the beginning, like I didn't try to sell my product. I just gave information and gave education. And then my following started to grow. So I just was myself, and then I would put on there my journey. So when I was traveling and trading, I put pictures up of what I was trading and how I was trading. Then I would put up, like I did at my first class in Thailand, I put pictures up of Thailand. And then people were seeing that on Instagram, and there became this demand for it. Hey, we saw that you were in Thailand doing a class. When I got home to Dallas, it was like, we know you're going to do a class here. So one big piece of it is just be yourself and show your journey. Make sure that you're not hiding all the things that you're doing, because whatever it is that's working for you, like if it's a company, then clearly whatever you're offering is working for you. So make sure that you're showing that in all your social platforms, because that's what's going to bring people to you, not necessarily you trying to sell something. I think another big part of my marketing is really word of mouth. Like a lot of the things that have grown for me, like we still don't have a legit website. We have a landing page, but like the one where you're real cute and it tells about you, and we don't have that yet. We're working on it, Eric. Right, we're working on it. I'm not like, I love my team. We working on it. We just got a whole bunch of stuff we're working on. Yes. But the real thing that sold the course was word of mouth. Like I have lots of students. Even now I have a mother who's like, I want to sign my daughter up. And a dad who has like two of his daughters that he's doing the class with. Do buy the course. I'm not telling y'all give the course to people for free, but do. But like word of mouth is really like how it's grown, because people have liked it. They're getting results and then they spread it. So that's the second piece, right? You have to make sure that your product is worth it, because if you really pour into your students and they're seeing it work, then they'll be your marketing team. And then the last thing I would say is make sure that you think about a brand and try to stick with it. So like I'm really particular about what goes out that has my name on it. If it has Teri on it, then I want it to look a certain way. And I do think a lot about just excellence in general. Like you've got to make sure that you require excellence of yourself the same way that you would require excellence of anybody else. And so if it's going out and it's got your name on it, make sure that it tells the story that you want to tell. And my team will probably tell you I slow some stuff down because I'm always about excellence, and I think they're starting to learn like what I desire. And that probably one of my old bosses was like that, which is why I'm probably like more stickler about it. But just make sure that you're telling your brand story, like whatever it is, like be consistent with that, so that if somebody sees it, they know immediately, oh, that's Trade and Travel. Yeah. Or that's Teri.
Yes, absolutely. And maybe we'll just maybe take a minute or two, since we have so many course questions. There's a question about, sort of, we get these questions a lot, so maybe we can just kind of go through them about how much you need to get started. And I think there's a question on, what was the question I said? So yeah, as somebody wants to take the course and sort of like kind of walk them through their kind of journey of the course and sort of what could they expect sort of in terms of how long does it take and sort of when to see progress and all of that.
Okay. We'll do a 3 minute course. And then we're going to go back to Power of One Million.
Back to it.
So the VIP program, which is what I think people really need in order to master trading, because that way you make money when the market's going up and when the market's going down. It's 7 classes. And those 7 classes take you from novice, where we're talking about intro to the stock market, how to place a trade, through risk management, which I think every trader needs to have. You need to have a way to protect yourself from losing. If you don't have a way to protect yourself from losing, then you will lose. You're preparing yourself for failure. So we have to have a risk management plan. Then we go into charts, technical analysis. That's that bomb section that I told y'all we just re-updated and stuff. It's beautiful. But that's how do you read charts? How do you find out the right time to buy a stock? So I was talking to a friend and he told me, I bought Boeing. And I was like, oh, you made a lot of money then. In my mind, I'm thinking he bought it at the lows that we had a couple of days ago. But no, he bought it at the high. So he's actually underwater. You can have a great company, but not know the right time to buy it. Reading charts tells you the right time to buy it. So that's a whole section. Then we go into a trading plan. How do you make consistency? Consistency is when you have the same, like I have 7 steps that I take every time I take a trade. And that's what I teach my students. So consistency comes when you follow that trading plan every single time. So I teach them my trading plan. Then we go into short. So that's the first part, the trade and travel course. So if you're like, I don't have, the whole thing is $5,000. But if you're like, I don't have $5,000, I get it. Start with the first 4 classes. That's just $19.97. And like, as you see, people are hitting $1,000 in a day. So you will make your money back. We just had a student, she was in the course for less than 60 days and made back her $5,000 investment just trading. So you can make your money back. But start with the first 4 classes. That's trade and travel. But then once you graduate from that, the VIP opens up. And VIP is when we start talking about shorting. How do you make money when the market goes down? Then we go into gaps and glowbacks. A lot of times after earnings, or even lately with the coronavirus, you've been seeing that the stock price will jump, and that's called a gap. How do you trade that gap? There's also glowbacks, overnight trading. How does that impact your trading? There's ways to actually really be successful from just knowing special tips. Like some stuff is like you would do it if you just knew, but nobody's ever told you. So gaps and glowbacks, and then we go into options. Now that you know my whole strategy with stock, how do you amplify that with trading options, which is 100 shares of a stock at a time? So that's the whole course. How long does it take? I tell people to take your time. I have some people right now that have been like, because we're at home, they've been binge watching it and getting through it in like 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that you need to take some time with each part of it and then practice it. So at least take a week or 2 per class and practice. That practice is going to really help you to become a better trader. Okay. Another question someone asked was, how much do you need to get started? Honestly, while you learn, I want you practicing in a simulator with fake money. So while you're learning, you really don't need very much to start. You can open the account with $500, and we use an account called TradeStation. So tradestation.com. Tell them I referred you. There's in the drop down, they've added my name. I think so many people have come from me that's in the drop down where it says, how did you hear about it? They have Teri Ijeoma.
It's like Facebook, Instagram, Teri Ijeoma. Like, it's crazy. Go check it out. Go check it out.
But yeah, we use a broker called TradeStation, and they have a really awesome simulator that looks just like your regular account. So if you put $500 in, it's like a bank account. It'll stay there. It's your money. But then you can practice on the simulator with fake money. I think do that until you get good. And we have, then after that, the question is, well, how much do I need after that when I'm trading with my real money? Well, I think you should start with at least $2,000. At $2,000, you're able to use margin, which at TradeStation is 4 times your cash amount. So you can actually buy up to $8,000 worth of stock with just $2,000 in your account. Margin is risky though, so definitely take the class, learn the risk management section before you start playing with it. But do know that at $2,000, we believe you can start making 1% of your cash amount a day. So that's like $20 a day. That's extra $100 a week. And I have like my cousin, the one I told you, Chad, that I'm hiring. He did that for the longest. He had $2,000 in his account, and he would just use that to pay for his car. Like the payment on his car every month. Mm-hmm. Like that was awesome for him. He wanted to upgrade his car. His wife said no. And so he said, well, I'm going to trade, get my own money, and then I can pay for my car that I want.
I love it.
And so small amount, easy, small wins. And you can just pay for some things that are your personal goals,
Yes. I love that. Thank you for taking the time. Of course, I know we it's a little pivot, but a few people wanted to hear. So we started the conversation though on mindset, and I want to kind of close on mindset. And my last question before I let you give your last wrap up is really about sort of like daily mindset. So we talked about sort of the mindset around like stepping out on faith without, regardless of fear. We talked about the mindset of being a doer and not being an excuser. What are your sort of like daily mindsets? Do you have like best practices? Do you have routines? Chantel asked, she hears business owners get up early to get their day started. What time do you wake up? So anything that you feel like you do day to day that really accelerates you as a business owner?
Yep. I am a night owl. So I'm up at like 3 a.m. working on things. So I don't get up. Well, Okay, I don't sleep. That's what the truth. Um, my mom is here too, nodding. She's like, "Yeah, she don't sleep."
Hey, mom.
Um, Val says, "Hey, mommy." Uh, but so okay, so here's what, and I can tell you, like, that's not a good thing. I want to be better. So in terms of self-care, things that I want to improve, I want to start sleeping more. I want to start exercising more. And so those are some commitments that I'm going to start making to myself. Like, I can do it, Terry. Like, do that. But a couple of things I will say is one thing that I've committed myself to is if there is something that I really need to get done on my to-do list, I don't go to sleep until it's done. And so that is a way, that's one commitment that I make to myself. And so that does mean that I might be up until 2, 3 a.m. But I know if I don't get it done today, then it's going to get buried on my to-do list and I won't get it done at all. So I try to make like 2 or 3 big commitments to myself. Sometimes it's even just one. By the end of this day, I'm going to get all of technical analysis uploaded. That was my one for last night. So I was up till 2, 3 a.m., but I made sure that I didn't go to sleep until I did that thing. And like, that's one thing that has really helped me to be productive. Like, whatever that big, sometimes like they call them like big frogs, eat the big frog first.
Yeah.
Whatever that big thing is, like, I try to get it done in that day before I go to sleep. So that's one. I wake up every day. In terms of my regular routine, I do wake up early. I wake up at 7:30 a.m. every day to look at the stock market. So I look at that early. Then from there, I go into, at 8 o'clock, there's a show on CNBC that I like a lot. So I watch it, and it gives me kind of that overview of what's happening in the stock market. CNBC, guys, just for your reference, if you're not looking at money news, you should. CNBC channel is really good. They just tell you all the things about companies and stocks. So I wake up at 8 a.m. Central Time. I watch that first show. The market then opens at 8:30. I usually trade for about another hour, hour and a half. By 11 o'clock, I'm usually done. There's a show that I like to watch on CNBC at 11. So a lot of times while that show is going on, that's when I'll go do something else. Like, I'll listen to it, but that's when I'm, which is unfortunate. Like, sometimes because you work from home, you don't have to get ready early. So sometimes by 11, that's when I'm actually getting like dressed and ready and on calls and having meetings. So that's when I start thinking more about my course and my students. So then I'll start checking email, checking things with my team. And then about 2 or 3 o'clock, that's when I go back and check the market again and say, what is it? Like, what's the price action? Do I need to get in or out of another trade for the next day to set up? Then after that, that's when I'm finishing any action item that I said I was going to do but haven't done yet. And yeah.
Awesome.
So that's what my day usually looks like.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. I know she's a night owl, y'all. I know. I'm in California, and I was working late last night. I'm like, why is she responding to me? So.
My cousin called it like 11. Tiandra, she was like, these people got questions in here, and so we're on the phone at 11 trying to answer questions.
Well, this is awesome. I know we're coming to time, but it's been such a pleasure to have the opportunity to interview you, Miss Teri. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your mindset gems. And just thank you for your ministry. I'm going to leave it to you to close out. What do you want to leave the people with?
I think during this time, I just want you to be active and proactive. One of the things, like I told you guys, that I've had several times where like I left a job and had to transition to a new job, and I didn't feel like something was kind of missing in my confidence. I think during that time, I was really paralyzed. And there was times, like I remember this one time I had been laid off, and I had about 2 or 3 months between when I was laid off and when my next job actually started. And I remember I spent so much time sulking and kind of being in my feelings that I didn't actually use that time really well. I didn't use it productively. And looking back, like I really wish that I had gotten my real estate license during that time or learned something new. Like there were so many things that I could have done during that time, but I was stuck in my feelings. So I just really encourage you guys, like during this time where you are at home, no matter what's happened, whether you are laid off, whether you have a job, whether the kids are at home now, it might be a new normal. Just try not to be paralyzed. And I know that's easier said than done, but at least recognize, hey, I'm so overwhelmed that I'm not doing anything. So let me at least take baby steps. Let me at least turn on the computer and pick something that I can watch that's instructional or going to help me in the long run.
Yeah.
There is, and there's so many things, like even if it's not investing, maybe it's like a CDL license. I was hearing somebody say, I got laid off and then I went and started doing trucks. Like, just find something that will be a skill, an added skill that no job can take away from you. Like, to me, that's the best thing about investing. This is a skill set that I have. Can't nobody take that from me. I can use it whenever I want to. If I don't want to day trade, I don't have to. But when I do want to make some money, I know how. So take this time and just be productive. That would be my last final thought.
Yes. Take the time, be productive, even if it's just a baby step. Don't put too much pressure on it. Just even if it's a baby step, learn something new. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much again, Teri. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We will be back next week, same place. Same
Wait. Where can they find me? Y'all can find me at investwithteri.com or on Instagram at I'm an investor. It looks like Imani Investor. A lot of people think my name is Imani, but it's Teri. It's just I'm an investor.
Yes, okay. I'm an investor, investwithteri.com if you want to hear more about the courses. Come back next week. We got lots more really great guest speakers for the next 4 weeks. So tune in. Thank you all.
Oh, and we have a free webinar at iTradeandTravel.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.